Hey, what's up? It's Dev Puppy here. I'm at the beach in Vancouver. I had to hunt around for this spot that was out of the wind, so it's the best I could do in terms of the wind noise, so bear with me. So it's been 6 months since I last had a video. There's the beach, and I'm just gonna find a surface on this log. Let's go. Okay, that's fine. Out on the log. So I have some notes here. So it's July right now, and it was definitely not my intention to come out with Kitty Paradise for Android in July. In fact, work started on it back in January, and I hired somebody to help me out with it, actually. So after hiring the person, 2 weeks later, he got a puppy. So the puppy completely demolished his productivity, and that's just the way it goes. So rolling into February, I was getting prepared anyway to get KP out for Android or for AR Core, hopefully in time for the AR Core release, which was actually back in February 23rd. Oh, he's got a poop. Okay. Now, because my programmer had a puppy, and he was only able to work maybe 5 hours a week after he got the puppy. The crappy thing is he was rolling along. I was so confident he was going to be fine, and we would have the thing out on time. But this puppy completely demolished that notion. And then what made things worse is February 27th, I got Jake, my new puppy, and I was completely floored by how much work he took. And what that meant was in March and April were essentially write-offs for me. So January, development started. February, I did my best to continue the work, and it was, 70% of the way there. And March and April were a complete disaster, where I lost my motivation, my daily routine of, a healthy routine based on getting to work early, and reading good stuff, and I don't know, it was a healthy routine, and having a puppy completely threw it off. So one thing I've learned is do not get a new puppy when you're about to release a game. That's just like a recipe for disaster. So now I know for in the future, because I will be getting another puppy eventually, and boy, it's not going to be even close to a game launch. Those first 2 months are just, it's not going to work. Okay, so Moose wants some water. There we go. So in April, I did try and get back into things, my confidence back, by getting in some tutorials, basically, some Unity tutorials, and I did some AR tutorials. I bought this asset called Bolt. I did a tutorial on that. So it helped, and I got back into things. One of the biggest things I found that helped me out was reading a book called The Slight Edge. And The Slight Edge is all about keeping a good daily routine going, and keeping it up long term, and how important it is to wake up every single day and do the same thing. Not the same thing over and over, but having a similar routine every day and keeping it up for years, and I mean years, to get successful. So when I read that book, it was the exact book I needed at that time, because in May, I started getting up every single day at 6:30, and that really helped things out. So even on the weekends, even if I had, even if I'd gone out the night before, felt rough in the morning, I would still get up at 6:30 and take the dog out, and worst case scenario, go back to bed. So I've kept that up. Also, at that time, I read a book called The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, which made me also realize the importance of doing little things right every day. So, for instance, getting up at 6:30, that's the most important thing I do every day. Like, when I get up at 6:30, I'm living basically. I'm living the life I want to live, and it really gets the day off to a good start and gets my self-confidence there. So self-esteem is a complicated thing with 6 different dimensions to it, and getting up every day and writing down some small tasks, and that's the key, small tasks that you can complete definitely that day, and actually celebrating those small tasks being completed. So what I lost sight of when I was, really down in the dumps for a couple months while I was taking care of Jake, our puppy, was I was so focused on the end goal that I was paralyzed. I could not open Unity to save my life. Well, I could have opened it to save my life, but I wouldn't have done anything because I was so afraid and so anxious about the entire process. So what I found really helped is, based on the slight edge and based on the 6 pillars of self-esteem, you really have to just write down small goals and achieve them. That's really what can help your self-confidence. And with self-confidence and self-esteem comes productivity, I think. I mean, without them, you basically just think everything's going to fail. And you don't work that well. So focus on the process, not on the end goal. If you're focused on the process, every little step at a time, like let's say this had 200 steps involved. If you take a look at those 200 steps, I mean, that's when I got paralyzed and couldn't get any work done. So instead of that, you focus on just 5 of those goals. 5 goals that you can do every day. 5 different goals you can do every day out of the 200. And just completely forget about not completely forget about the end goal, I should say, but it shouldn't be in the forefront of your mind. Those 5 goals should be the forefront. And what I missed as well, what I lost during this downtime was, he needs to sleep. What I lost during this downtime was also I was thinking so pessimistically about the game release. Back last year, I was so focused on the best case scenario, actually, of this game working out, and that really motivated me. So every day I actually began to write down what the best case scenario would be in my mind for whatever project I was working on that day. Usually it was KP, of course. Sometimes it wasn't. The productive times have been May, June, and we're into almost the second week of July now. So it's been 10 weeks, and it's certainly not been all productive. I would say 3 of those weeks were not great. So I took steps back, and that's all part of it. One thing I read in the Slight Edge actually is if you get off course from your end goal, it's not, you can always get back on course. So the analogy that was used is the Apollo space, I forget what number it was, but the one that landed on the moon for the first time. They were all, that Apollo program, when they were headed to the moon, was on course only 3% of the time. So 97% of the time, they were off course and correcting. Like, if that's not an analogy for getting to an end goal, like, I don't know what is, because that is so helpful. Because for 1 week, I don't know, I lost my habits. I stopped getting up early. I was staying up super late, gaming or going out. So, not good. And another one, way more positive, was I got married. Whoop, let's not point out the occlusion thing. I got married, so there's my ring. So that was really fun. And in June, it took probably 2 weeks of work to get ready for Vancouver VR, kind of demo summit, I would call it. I forget what the event was called, but I had a booth at this Vancouver VR event, and that took a couple weeks to design new cards, get the cards printed, design new stickers for the game so I could post them up. I rented a huge screen to show, and people would actually play the game on a big iPad Pro. I had 2 of them that I borrowed from Apple, and people would play it on the iPad Pros, and it would be streaming to the big monitor in the back using Air Server, which was an amazing setup. Wow, I just can't keep these cats, like, sustained. Which is good. I mean, 4 cats is a lot. I'm making a ton of money here. And so that Vancouver VR demo took about 2 weeks of those 10 weeks. So already we're talking about 5 weeks were not dedicated. 5 weeks of productive time were not dedicated directly to getting this out for Android. So yeah, that's not an excuse. That's just what happened. I honestly, when the AR core launch date was missed, I thought to myself, whenever it comes out, because I was just heading into getting the new puppy, and that was, as I've already said, was a disaster for motivation, although he's one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life. A couple weeks in July was tying up loose ends for the release, so getting achievements to work, getting in-app purchases to work, a couple little things like that. One of the big things that's happening is I have a contract for some work for the government, for my old industry, which is basically creating maps, interactive online maps, so kind of like a mapping application. I landed a big contract, so I'll be doing that for 8 months, and that will bring in some great money, and that's exactly what this company needs. I need money to keep this thing going, not KP, but just to keep the company going. And while this contract is going, I intend to work at least 1 day a week on Office Baller, which I will be releasing for Oculus Go. Oh, by the way, I got into the Oculus Start program, and so I got an Oculus Rift and a Go for free, and a sweet sweater as well. I was super proud when I got in, and I got in based on the Office Baller prototype from a year ago. I didn't publish, but I made that build in July 2017. It's July 2018, and it came back to benefit me. So I don't think any work you do, even if it's on a project that doesn't work out, I really don't think it's a waste, because with this project, I've created an app now for Apple and for Android, which is a big accomplishment since I had done nothing like it before, and it was all beginner stuff. So what doesn't he like? He doesn't like the tree, maybe? God damn it, what's his problem? Food? Water. Man, this is exactly like having a puppy. You just like can't figure out what's wrong. Okay, it was the water. He hated the water. So yeah, Office Baller will be coming out hopefully. I'm aiming for Christmas, and we'll see how that works. I'll try and do a video. Well, not try and do. I really have to just create a schedule and do once a month a check-in for how development is going, because it is going to be slow. Going once a week is going to be slow, and I'm going to be rebuilding it for the most part because I want to be using the 2018 lightweight VR rendering pipeline, because I saw a video today of that, somebody using that, and it looks amazing on the Oculus Go. Like, jeebus, like, I'm definitely going to use that, because I can pump up the graphics a bit, and performance won't be such an issue, so I'm definitely going to be using that. So I think that's it for today. So enjoy your day. I will get editing and post this ASAP. I hope you're enjoying the day by a beach like me, or you will be after work. Bye. Hey, if you like this video, hit that like button down below. And if you want to keep up with what I'm up to, hit subscribe.